I spend a lot of my time talking about nitrogen fertilizer, how do we apply it and when to apply. But I don't often get into the basics of where does that nitrogen rate come from. The interesting aspect of that is that nitrogen rate calculations can be taken back to a single equation called the Stanford Equation. Now there's three parameters of this equation. We're going to break those down one at a time. First, N up. This is N uptake by the crop. So this is the nitrogen that's within the grain, the nitrogen within the forage, or the fiber. So it's that nitrogen that you're going to be removing from the field. It's not in a wheat crop, it doesn't count the nitrogen that goes back in the residue when you take the grain off. It's about the nitrogen that's relieved or removed with the grain. The second is in soil. So this is the nitrogen component within the soil. If you think back to the standard land grant recommendations, you have a yield goal recommendation. So what is your yield goal? In uptake minus soil test nitrogen. So that would be whatever's in the soil pre-plant. This also can include legume credits, maybe manure credits. So this is the N in the grain minus the nitrogen that could be in the soil. You take those two together and this is the total N that is needed, the total N that is needed, but then the third factor is in efficiency. This is the efficiency at which the fertilizer is going to be used by the crop. Now this takes into account source, method, timing, and losses. So if we really look at this, you go, what's the total needed by an efficiency? And that is divided by maybe a percentage. So in a case of needing 100 pounds of nitrogen for the crop at a 50% efficiency, we're going to need to apply 200 pounds because only 50% of what's applied will be taken up or used by the crop because the other is lost. Now we get back to this equation, we look at that yield goal recommendation. So if you look at it, winter wheat, the typical rule of thumb that we've been using for a long time is 2 pounds of N per bushel. Now that takes in all this, so yield goal nitrogen. So if I want 40 bushel of wheat, I need 80 pounds of nitrogen minus my soil test. Now that 80 is a little off because that 2 pounds of N, that's more than what the crop needs. Winter wheat is only using about or having about 1.26 to 1.3 pounds of N per bushel. So where does that 2 come from? That's the efficiency. That old rule of thumb is taking in all aspects of this and basically increasing the nitrogen needed per bushel to account for that efficiency. If you want to know more about nitrogen rate recommendations, go to the SunUp webpage at www.sunup.okstate.edu.